I feel like this person could pull out a knife at any second. They could come over and strangle me at any second. They could like vomit on me at any second. They could just wig out any second.
It's LeahMouseVlog, LeahMouseVlog, it's LeahMouse's vlog.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my super awesome channel. Yes, I'm wearing the exact same outfit that I was in the last video. Spoiler alert, I recorded them back to back. So here we are with part 2 of the top 20 most annoying things for autistic people reaction video. We're watching this video from the channel Hunter Hansen, The Life Autistic. This is going to be the top 10 list, so this is going to be the one that really brings it on home, I think, that we're all going to be able to identify with. Plus, it always has to do something in the background while I'm doing this. All right, so let's see.
Now we're going into the top 10. So, number 10. Number 10 is when we are pressured into saying yes, and when we're cornered into saying yes and committing to things. It secretly really annoys us autistic people, because if we're trying to go against being rude and you kind of work it into where, hey, we're going to say yes, or we can't really say no, it's those social traps. I really want to be able to say no. Don't corner us into a yes. Make it obvious that we can say no without reprisal.
Yes, I completely agree with that, 100%. That is probably one of my biggest, this is gonna sound bad, it's gonna make me sound like a terrible human being, but I hold grudges. I do. Now, I won't get too deeply into this, but basically nothing will push me away from you faster than if you try to guilt trip me into something. Not only do I not respond to that, I literally don't respond to that. If you guilt trip me, you will get radio silence in return, because I am not even going there. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing the guilt trip game with you. I don't have the mental capacity to do it. I don't have the patience to do it. I'm not doing it. If I already know you're trying to trap me into agreeing to something, you are over there now, I am over here, and that is how it's gonna stay. I know that, see, that's another thing, like we come off as rude because we have very cutthroat, at least I do, cutthroat points of view, because we don't respond to things the same way that other people do. We don't do the little dancing, and guilt trips are the worst. If you want me to do something, it's gotta be worded in a way that makes it seem like my company is desired, but it's also, like he said, it's also okay for me to say no if it's up to me. Like, you know, I'd really like it if you could make it, but I understand if you can't. That's a really easy way to put it. It's not that hard, and people say that all the time. But like you mean you don't want to come and see me for the last time before I go? Like, Now I'm really gonna look like an asshole because I'm definitely not coming now because you went and did the guilt trip thing. I probably would have come if you wouldn't have done that. But anyway, so yeah.
Number 9, I've already gotten to this one, but it is small talk and hello and the way people go through and talk about the conversational steps. I get really ticked off when somebody just says, hey, like in a chat, and they don't say anything else. Like, come on, you have a question. You need to give me a little bit more than this.
I think I actually wrote a Facebook status about this several years ago where I just went off about this. I mean, this is probably like a decade ago or something. Yeah, oh, that drives me nuts. Like, if you are contacting me, you're obviously contacting me for a specific reason, okay? Either, like you said, you have a question, or you have something to tell me, or maybe you're just checking in to see how I'm doing. If that's the case, open with that. Don't do this, hey. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, I don't know how other people can deal with that. I really don't. I don't get why that's normal. What do you say back other than, hey? Like, that's just a waste of time. Like, why are we doing this? Like, hey, what's up? Not much. What's up with you? By the way, and then we finally get to the meat. It's like, just start with that. Like, get to the point, you know? It goes back to that thing that we did in the last video. Get to the point. Don't pitty-patty footy kitty put fit paw pad around whatever you're trying to get to. Just get to it, man. Woo! And I realize not everybody, you know, operates this way, and that's fine. We don't expect the world to change for us. I know I don't, but these are the things that definitely make it harder to live in a neurotypical world, because we just don't get it and we can't accommodate because we don't understand it, much like neurotypicals probably don't understand us, and they're just like, here's that rude little weird freak over there in the corner who's uppity about the guilt trip I just laid on her after forcing small talk on her and making a bunch of loud sounds in repeated succession. I don't get it. Why is she so rude? Yeah, anyway, yeah, that's always been a thing of mine. I will not respond to a message if it starts with hey. Like, look, if you want to talk to me, just get to the point. Otherwise, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not doing this.
Or how are you? And I don't really know what to say, or how's it going, or what's new. So yeah, that is a low-key, slight, and secret annoyance for a lot of autistic people that you may not realize. It's no more complicated than just being direct about it. If we can skip the small talk, please do. Number 8, this one is not great. It's when others try to pick components of our autism to celebrate and to denigrate. Kind of like it's only convenient for me to acknowledge that you're autistic when ... I remember, like, as a kid, it was really cool to think that I could weaponize my autism. Newsflash, I can't just turn the switch on and off, much to my chagrin. I mean, it'd be nice to be, like, less autistic.
Okay, I'm sorry. He just got like 1,000 bonus points because he said much to my chagrin. I love that phrase. I love the word chagrin. It makes me very happy inside when I hear people use $10 words. It makes me very happy. Like, it's kind of distracting actually, because like somebody will be actually telling me something important. They'll use a nice word, and my main response is, ooh, nice word. And then I'll get to the response. But yeah, I have to always compliment people when they use a real shiny, expensive word like that. It makes me happy. I love it. I love words. But anyway, yeah, I'm not really sure about this one, what he's talking about, because again, I only recently started on this autistic journey thing, and I definitely didn't know about it as a kid, so I haven't had the opportunity to interact with many people who have known about it, and the few people that JJ has tried, bless his heart, to explain it to, who have been in our lives, who have pointed me out as weird or rude or blamed me for choices he's made, which is why I felt the need in the last video to say, like, that was his choice, not mine. I had nothing to do with that. He has to explain this to them, like, no, this is, you know, she's not rude, she's not this, she's not that, like, she's actually autistic. Like, now he has a word for it to tell other people about it. And as far as I know, and I haven't been around for it, unfortunately, but he's given me feedback, and apparently either nobody cares or nobody understands. So I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. Maybe it's just the wrong crowd, I don't know, but it kind of, like, it made me feel good that he said something. I guess it's semi in my defense, which I appreciate, because it's like, hey, you know, she's not a bad person. She's just neurodivergent. She's got this thing going on, and this is why she is how she is. And he tried to explain it to people so that they wouldn't think that I was just rude or whatever. And it didn't apparently go well, because they don't care enough to understand. And those are the people that I wish would see these videos so that they would understand and get it. Maybe if they want to be my friend and want me around, they would try to understand me better so that they could, like, work with me and stuff. But like, nobody cares. Everybody's self-absorbed, especially around here. I'm not trying to degrade everybody in this community, but I mean, 99% of the people around here are very self-absorbed and just toxic, and I don't even honestly care that much. But yeah. So I'm not sure about this one too much, but let's keep watching.
Some days, but no, I'm 100% autistic. That's just how it came out. I don't like, and others do not like as well, when our attributes are looked in a way to where it's cool that we can memorize things, have great recall, build in routines, and be celebrated for that. But on the flip side, if we're denigrated for those same things, like, oh, you're too rigidly devoted to this, oh, you eat the same things over and over, oh, your music is too weird, oh, you get excited about BattleBots too much. See, that's not cool.
Okay, I kind of get what he's saying now. Personally, I haven't experienced that, thankfully, again, because I have limited exposure to actually interacting with people where I had the opportunity to present and explain I'm autistic, but you know, maybe it's something I'll encounter in the future, so I'm glad to know this so that I can be prepared for that, so that I can grimace at a few more people and hold more grudges and write off even more people from my life. I'm such a wonderful optimist. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's keep going here.
Number 7, and yes, this didn't even crack the top 5. It's when people change the plans. I'm not going to go into this too much because this is a common autism annoyance and a trigger, but when plans change and we got to do some work to help adapt and accommodate, it's not cool. I don't enjoy it. It's a slight annoyance to me. And yes, while we do adapt to it, the hard part is that we are already preparing for the outcomes, the index of possibilities that go with those plans.
Thank you, Hunter. Thank you. I've talked about this before, and I've talked about this before I even knew about the autism thing with me. Like the Halloween party. We are going to talk about this ruined Halloween party until the end of time. I swear to God, but that's a very good example. I expected it to go a certain way. Could I have adapted and thought, you know, maybe it's not so bad sitting here being excluded from conversations watching people get drunk? Okay, no, that wouldn't have worked out. That's actually a bad example, but no, that's one of the things that, again, it took JJ and I a while to sort, well, not a while, actually. He's pretty accommodating. He's a really good dude. Boy, am I lucky to have him. Oh my God. It took us a minute after moving in together to sort of get on the same page with that, you know, because like he was a plan changer. He's very spontaneous. He calls himself fly by the seat of his pants. And I get that. I'm also spontaneous, but not in the degree of I will just rigorously change the plans at the last second, invite extra people, change the venue, change the activity, whatever. It's more like, I'm bored. You want to go to Niagara Falls? That's my spontaneity. His spontaneity is, well, we planned on staying at home tonight and watching movies and it's 10 p.m., but I've changed my mind. I'm gonna invite 5 friends over. That was always a problem with me. So, luckily, again, that is no longer a thing. I appreciate that. And again, I had nothing to do with that. That was all him, because if he was gonna change that for me, he would have changed it a long time ago, because I have been very annoyed by all of that for quite some time. But he's just bettering himself. Again, I'm getting too much into his business. It's not my place. But anyway, we don't even have to deal with that anymore, which I really appreciate. So let's keep going.
Number 6 has a special place in my heart, the dark part of my heart, and that's disorder. I do not like disorder. Disorderly things are a trigger, and this is something that secretly annoys us autistic people. Mind you, it's not about cleanliness. I don't care if my surfaces are not dusted. That shit doesn't bother me. But if I have things out of order, or they're not in the right place, or things got put back in a different way, and I'm the one who took great care in putting them there. And what's interesting is that when you do this with others, sometimes that dynamic gets a little difficult to navigate.
Yes, that is absolutely a thing. One of the shining, crowning things that I loved about that job that I left, that unfortunately was toxic and killing me because of my back, it involved making order out of disorder. And that has always been one of my favorite things to do. I will always be drawn towards employment that requires making order out of disorder. Not a lot of people like to do that. I get that. Like housekeeping, for example. I was a housekeeper for many years. I did housekeeping at like 6 different hotels over the span of my adult life. And I loved it. And most people don't understand why. And I'm like, because it gives me great pleasure to walk into a room, see that it's, you know, messed up one way or the other, and being able to right it, to organize it, to make it order again, to reorder it. I used to organize Magic the Gathering cards. When I would go to a card shop and I was with somebody who was playing, I would literally I would go up to the counter and be like, look, I'm gonna be here for a while. I want something to do. I know exactly what I wanna do. Give me your boxes of commons, uncommons, rares, whatever. I'm going to organize them by color, by set, and alphabetically. It's happening. And I would sit there and I would do that for free. I would just organize their stuff. I just have to. I'm compulsively drawn to making order out of disorder, and I love it. And yeah, it does not translate to cleanliness. I mean, I like things to be clean, obviously, but I don't mind, like he said, if things are a little bit dusty or whatever. And this is one thing that JJ and I really have in common, and it's amazing. We both love order. Alphabetize it, colorize it, chronologicalize it, make it chronological. You know, everything has its place. Like when we first moved in together, it was like the most glorious thing in the world, because we would bring stuff in and one of us would pick something up, like a mug or the bottle of ketchup or like the canister of flour or something, and we would ask the other person, where does this live? Because once we decide where that specific thing lives, that's where it will live continually. It's one spot is designated forevermore to that thing. That is always where it's gonna be. That's always where it's gonna be returned to once we're finished using it. Always. Everything lives somewhere, and there is some place for everything to live. Like we both live like that. And it's like such a huge relief to both of us that we both live like that, because we didn't always have that experience with other people, and it was just drove both of us nuts. So that's one wonderful thing that I have in common with that wonderful man, and it works. It's nice.
It's like a library system. But if I'm the only one who uses it, if I'm the primary user and these are my things and I put my things in a certain place and I'm the only one who does this and somebody else disorders my order, it gets violent. I remember as a kid, I just asked my brother and it involved a savage beatdown with a blue plastic chair.
I was very much like that as a kid with my room. Things might not have always been in an alphabetical, chronological, colorized order or whatever, but it was my order. It was the order I decided on it to be. And my mom would come in. Mom, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I'm sorry, I love you. But my mom would come into my room, do some cleaning. Bless her heart. She was a wonderful mom. She took care of me really well. She would do some cleaning and she would move stuff. Oh, and I hated it. I hated it so much. It just like, and then like, it wasn't even just about my mom. Like I would have friends come over and they would, for some reason, want to rifle through my stuff and pull stuff out and do this and that. And I'm like, you're moving my stuff. You're touching my stuff. Stop it. Like it was really bad when I was a teenager. Well, I don't know anybody now. If somebody came in now and wanted to rifle through my stuff, I would be fine. I would just be like, okay, I'm gonna look at where they put it down. I'm gonna pick it back up and put it right back where it goes as soon as they leave. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, when I was younger, it was a big deal. I did not like people moving my stuff, touching my stuff. It doesn't matter. They could have moved it like a foot to the left. I would have freaked out. I don't do, like, don't touch my stuff. Just don't touch my stuff. That's where it begins. That's where it ends.
Moving into the top 5. Yay, fun. So here's number 5. You're not going to believe that this is only number 5, but yes, it's in my top 5. It's the vague statements as questions. I'm going to like bundle all of the vagueness things. So it's like when people ask like, hey, what's this all about? Or hey, could you pick that up? And I'm not looking. My first answer is going to be something like this. What's the meaning of this? It's a pronoun. Because that's how I think. If you use those vague statements, even at like a pronoun level, that's concerning. I'm not always looking where you're looking. Call it out. Milk jug, broken glass, dustpan, loose dog. I need to know what this and that are.
That is funny because that's exactly what I said about JJ with walking me through the cooking thing. He would just like, can you put that in there? He might be gesturing, but I'm looking at what I'm doing. I'm like, you need to use your words, you know, use your words, be specific. You have to tell me exactly, like lay it out exactly. The vagueness, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
But it's also the vagueness of like describing a story ending. You know, I mean, he's just, I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know how he reacted. Like these things went, I mean, you get the idea. No.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, that is like such a thing. Oh man, that used to drive me insane. Again, my human interaction has dwindled down to 0 at this point, so I don't have current examples, but like past examples, basically it was like people would be telling a story or they would be giving me directions. I remember having this specific thing. They'd be like, I'm staying at the motel by the river. I would go and look for a motel by a river. Motel is a very specific thing to me. River is a very specific thing to me. I would end up getting lost. I would have to call them, be like, okay, I can't find this thing. What are you talking about? And I was like, I see a hotel by a lake. Is that what you're talking about? And they're like, oh yeah, hotel, motel, lake, river, you know what I mean. The you know what I mean used to drive me nuts. I'm like, no, I don't know what you mean. Unless you say what you mean. Like there's no reason for that phrase, you know what I mean. Obviously, no, I'm not gonna know what you mean unless you said what you mean. And if you said what you mean, there's no need for that phrase because I would know what you mean and there would be no confusion. So, oh, that used to drive me nuts because I'm like, hotel, motel, 2 different things. River, lake, 2 different things. I'm looking for something specific, but it's something completely different because I know what you mean. Oh, I'm like triggering myself watching this. This is ridiculous.
I don't get the idea. You're going to have to spell it out and tell me because I'm not you. I wasn't there. I don't know how you're thinking. I don't know what idea you're getting that I'm not getting. So just tell me. I don't like the vagueness. And kind of in with this vagueness is the same thing with like time frames. Like I don't like when people say they're going to be here within a certain time frame. You're not my dishwasher repairman. I don't like that. Though that vagueness also applies to like statements or hints.
Okay, yeah, the time frame thing, I know what he's getting at. He's like between this time and this time. I get that. That gives me anxiety too. My thing with the time frame thing is though, people have different definitions of stuff. Just like I said before, a little bit. We'll only be there for a little bit or a little while. I'm like, your little while and my little while are, I'm guessing, 2 very different things. You need to give me, I can do like a 10-15 minute time frame. I can maybe even do 10 to 20 minutes. Maybe. Fine. But, you know, be specific. A little bit a while, a couple, a few, a lot, a bunch. Like, be specific, for crying out loud. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm getting heated. I need to chill out.
Number four. Number four. This personally might be like my number one on some days, but this one secret annoyance was enough to trigger a meltdown. I literally ran into my shower and hid because it was so bad. Number four, showing up unannounced. Never do this ever. If you give me a time, I will expect you. I've got to stop. I need my fidget away because I need my hands to make fists.
Yes. 100% yes. We've covered this. You guys know this. I'm sure a bunch of you agree with this too. Showing up unannounced. Goes back to that knocking in the doorbell thing. Don't do it. JJ had a friend who did that one time. One friend. One time. They learned very quickly because of my reaction. Luckily, I'd seen them before and been around them before. So like, you know, it was a comfortable environment to have a meltdown in. But yeah, he literally just showed up. Our back door was open. So he didn't even like knock. He just walked into our house and showed up in our basement. And I was like, hi, where the hell did you come from? I didn't handle it very well at all. It was probably one of my lesser meltdowns on the scale of the meltdowns that JJ's friends have given me. Just by being themselves, and just by me being me, right? But yeah, that was terrible, and I definitely, yeah, wasn't cool with that. I don't think I need to speak any further on this topic. We all know.
If you give me a time that you're going to show up at that time. If it's a range, make it a small range. Show up then. If you show up long before, I'm going to be not secretly annoyed. I'm just going to be annoyed. I will be seething inside. Never do that. This is a huge trigger for autistic people because it invades our sense of expectation, routine. It kind of breaks our airlock. It's almost like we're being invaded, and I don't like that. And nobody wants to be invaded before we've prepared. So if you're bored and you want to just show up 2 hours early, don't do that. Not cool. Being late is actually okay. Like, at least give us some expectation. Hey, things happen. I'm going to be a bit late. I'm really sorry. I should be there by this time. I'm actually okay.
But nobody does that either. This is very specific to the people in this area. They won't tell you that they're going to be late until they're already late and you've been wondering where they were for an hour and a half. And then they'll text you and say, oh, sorry, I'm running late. It's like, yeah. No kidding. Or they just straight won't show up at all, which brings us back to the Halloween party, but we won't get into that again.
Number three is really sobering, and I picked this for my top three because I think it's something we don't really discuss often, but I need to just land the plane on the carrier here. Number three is unpredictable people. This is a secret annoyance. For me, it's a major, major stressor. When we are learning to read people, when we're learning to just identify how people behave, we form kind of a map, and it has a certain range of, I know this person, I know about them, and I expect them to behave a certain way.
Yes, before he even continues on, I'm gonna say that is a big deal. That is a really big deal. It's probably one of the biggest reasons I'm uncomfortable around drunk people or people who are on drugs. Granted, I haven't been around people on drugs often. It's usually just a happenstance thing if we happen to be out and somebody who's whacked out on meth just ambles by. And of course, JJ has to strike up a conversation because he talks to everybody. He won't like it any more than I will. He's, you know, he doesn't want to be friends with this person, but they just, you know, they talk and then they latch onto him because he's friendly and he lets them latch onto him. And I'm standing there like, I feel like this person could pull out a knife at any second. They could come over and strangle me at any second. They could like vomit on me at any second. They could just wig out any second. It makes me really uncomfortable being around drunk people or people who are not in control of their, you know, faculties at the moment. I'm pretty good with reading people pretty quickly, like normal sober people. And then of course, when it comes to like the people I've met around here, most of them I have not even met when they've been sober. I've met them and been around them many, 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 many times. They were always drunk. So I don't actually even know what they're like sober. So I don't know who they are as people, and that makes me uncomfortable too. Like, I feel like maybe I would know them or like them if I had a chance to actually meet them for who they are instead of this unpredictable, woozy, wonky, idiot sounding thing. And that sounds really judgmental and I'm sorry, but it is a factor, okay? It's hard to be comfortable around you when you're drunk and I'm sober, and I know that it's hard for you to see that through your drunk goggles, but flip it around. You know, you try being sober in a room full of drunk people and not get annoyed. I'm sorry, it's inevitable. that turned into a different kind of rant. Anyway, I'm sorry, but he's right.
When there's too much variance in a person, it gets really stressful and just frankly secretly annoying when people just get extremely angry for no rational reasons that we can deduce, or extremely sad or upset. This also comes true with people who frankly struggle with substance abuse. Alcoholics, for example. Like, if you're drinking, I probably don't want to be around you. You may completely go outside the norms that I imagine you to be, and it worries me when you break out of that and start doing things that are very atypical in your behavioral.
Thank you. I'm so glad that he brought that into that. I felt like a judgmental dick because I brought alcohol into that. But yes, exactly. I'm so glad that he said that. Now I feel like way less of a dick because that's a really good example of unpredictability is substances, right?
If that's you, you need to stop and think about how you present to other people, because it's, I'm telling you, it's not just autistic people you're worrying, it's others too. You're making their lives worse. Anyway, that's for you to fix. So I'll put that out there. Ask others, do you act unpredictably? Do you have a wild range of behaviors? Because look, it's not just a slightly annoying thing to autistic people, it's a concern. Anyway, that is definitely number 3 for me, but that's not in my top 2. Number 2 is this. Number 2, I'm surprised that number 2 is not number 1, but number 2 is when people do not account for our autism in all shapes and forms. So of all these annoyances, if you are disclosed and you know this person, this guy, this gal, they are autistic, and you choose to ignore that and still find ways to just trigger with changing plans, disrupting expectations, making things take longer, indirect feedback, showing up unannounced, all those things, you are doing a grave disservice. In our minds, we're thinking, y'all should know better. We make a habit of telling you, and especially if we're going to make the liberty of disclosing our autism to you and it still goes ignored, that's really terrible.
Yes. I mean, he said it all. I couldn't have said it better myself. And that is why I'm so grateful for JJ, because he did not even know I was autistic before I knew. We literally recently just found out together, right? But he has been so accommodating and so understanding about me, who I am, and everything before we even knew that it had a word. And when I found out about my autism, I asked him, I'm like, do you want to watch some videos with me to learn more about it? You know, do you want to see what I've learned? Do you want to read these articles or whatever? And he goes, no. And I was like, no. I'm like, don't you want to learn more about it? He's like, well, I already know you and you aren't changing. There's just a name for it now. And I already know who you are. And I know the things that upset you. And I know the things that you need in your life and that, you know, this and that. He's like, I already know you and you haven't changed. So I don't need to know more about autism because I already know you. And I was like, damn, boy. But yeah, he's been really, really great. Like, without even knowing that it was autism, he still accommodated me. He has to, you know, he still works to accommodate me and strive to work around these issues that I had before he even knew that there was a reason for it. He accepted me for all of these weird little things about me that are linked to autism before even knowing they were autism. And I think that's amazing. Like, you know, there was no like, oh, she's autistic, I have to be understanding, I have to learn more about it, I have to understand this and that, and I have to work around it and accommodate it. No, he just said, this is who she is. I learned who she is and I will accommodate because I understand and I love her. And then we found out I was autistic. And then he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Keep on keeping on, girl. And I was like, you're the best, I love you. But anyway, so yeah.
Here's number 1. The number 1 thing that secretly annoys us autistic people the most is when you don't believe us. That's it. We are not here to lie and make up things and blanket autism with a bunch of excuses. That's not it. When we're considered liars and people don't believe us and we literally explain, here's why this bothers me, here's why this is a concern, here's how it makes me feel, we're not lying. That's preposterous.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I've experienced that yet. Again, I haven't had enough experience with that. I mean, maybe his friends that he told about me didn't believe it. Maybe that's what was going on, but I wasn't there to experience it. And I honestly don't care that much. These people don't really mean anything to me, so foo-foo on them. But yeah, I could see that would be a problem. And hopefully I don't ever have to experience that. But luckily I have enough strength of soul to just sort of push through that. And again, I've got my little grudge stick that I can be like, okay, fine. I don't need you anyway. You're over there, I'm over here. That's how it's gonna be. So, well, thanks for watching that with me, you guys. I hope you made it all the way through, and I hope that you learned something, whether you're autistic or not. Maybe you can relate to some of these things. And definitely go check out that guy's channel, Hunter Hansen, The Life Autistic. He makes fantastic videos, and I'm really enjoying what I'm learning from him along this journey. Again, thank you guys very much for watching. Leave me all your thoughts, comments, and opinions in the comments down below. And watch out for the sheep as always. And the vlog phrase of the day is JJ rules, because he does. I'm sorry. I have so much love for that man. He is the most amazing guy in the world. I am so lucky to have him. We're gonna give him some super cred right now because he deserves it. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, bye.